My name is Ellen. I'm with Flandrens Interiors. I do interior decor and furniture upcycling, and I honestly haven't been on here for a while. I've been so busy doing things. I've been working on some clients' pieces for their home, and got a bunch of those done, so now I'm back to doing my own things. We got new lighting in here just so it's easier to paint with, but wow, it's like UFO lighting kind of stuff, so hopefully it's not too bright. So whether you're watching this live or watching on the replay, that doesn't matter to me, but the reason I do these tutorials is to help you learn prep and technique for painting your own furniture, or maybe you want to get into furniture painting to do as a side hustle or as a business. I mean, there's lots of people doing this for many reasons. I just really like it. I think I've always liked, you know, when I was little, I used to like coloring books. I'd go through them, but like crazy, and pens, colored pens and pencils. So to me, this is a way of coloring, I guess, as an adult in a little bit bigger way than a coloring book. But it's really soothing to me. It's peaceful. I can't have music on here when I do the lives because Facebook will nix the video, but I usually have music on out here. It allows me to think, just sort through things, and it's really fun. So we're gonna start on this. There's a lot of prep to be done on this piece. Generally, when you pick up a piece off Marketplace, or it might be at a restore, or it might be someone's given it to you, we've had that recently happen to people, there's going to be dings, nicks, scars, scratches. I did a table recently. You can look at my Facebook page and my Instagram page under Flandrens Interiors, and you will see a pure white table and chair set we did, and that thing had deep scratches in it, like probably almost, I'd say more than an 1/8 of an inch deep and all over the place. So we really had a lot of fixing to do on that table as well. This one isn't quite as bad, but there's a lot of things. And I'm going to show you some of the damage, because what I want to do tonight is show you that even though you get these pieces that look like I can't fix that, they absolutely can be fixed. So I want to show you some of the ways that we fix some of these little doodads and how we get them ready. Hi there. How we get them ready to repair and get them ready to paint or refinish. This one has a laminate top. Laminate tops are from 70s, 80s, maybe late 60s, 90s. I think by the 2000s they stopped making them so much and they went more back to wood. But you'll find a lot of pieces that are 99% wood, like this one, and then they have a laminate top, and they'll also have molding on them that are resin. They're usually a resin type molding. So these are a resin cast molding, and then this molding gets put over top of the wood door. So the door on this is wood. This is all wood, but just this part here is the resin molding, and I'll show you how to prep those too, because some people think that once they get these pieces and they have the resin molding on them that they're, you know, they can't really do anything, they can't paint them. So there's a couple of ways of fixing that issue too. So I'm going to show you this. I'm going to bring you in. I won't be able to see anything that you guys say, but I'm going to go over using Ultra Grip for prep, cleaning this. How do you clean these intricate bits of molding? How do you fix pieces of missing laminate? How do you fix gouges? How to just get it all ready for painting. And then in the next day or two, we'll start really painting this. I'm going to be doing this one in Fusion Mineral Paint. This is a Fusion Mineral Paint called Ashwagandha. Don't have my glasses on, but I believe this is ashwagandha. It's like a white, but it's got a very bit of a gray undertone to it, so it's really kind of neat. So we're going to be doing it with that, and then I am not sure what I'm going to be doing for detailing around these moldings yet, but we will be accenting the molding somehow. So what do I have here? I have TSP, which I buy the Fusion Mineral Paints TSP, and it's a capful per liter. And I just mix it up in one of these. Thank you, that is a nice picture, isn't it? I mix it up in one of these containers so that I can spray it easily. So that's for cleaning the piece, because you have to get any grease and dust and grime off before you do anything else, even before sanding. After we've sanded, This is a product that's really, really good. It's called Bin. Actually, this isn't the right tin. The tin that I wanted to bring out is called Bin 123. I think this is the oil one. And the other one is the water-based one. So I use the water-based one. You can prime this whole thing with a brush or a roller and water-based primer. But you don't really have to. Sometimes you can do that instead of sanding, and sometimes you can do it if you want to just have a nice white undercoat to your paint. So, but I don't mind either way. I don't mind sanding and or doing the primer. It just depends on my time and what I have. The other thing I've got here, I'm going to bring you in a little bit. The other thing I've got is Pro Bond Max wood filler. So this is a really good wood filler if you're going to be filling in pieces that you might need to reshape, and I'll show you where I'm using those. So this looks like mud. It's not the white wood filler that you get, the Drydex, and I'll show you that one. I just have to grab it here. So these are the two types of wood fillers I use a lot. This is the Pro Bond wood filler. So if I was to use this, I could stain over it, and I could also paint over it. I find this really good for fixing missing pieces, small missing pieces on a piece. And I'll show you a couple of spots here where there's a chunk missing we're going to fix. This is the other type of wood filler. It's called Drydex, and it goes on pink and it dries white, and it's kind of like silly putty almost. It should be a little bit more moist than that, but it goes on pink and dries white, and then you just sand it. So both of these you put on and then you sand after. And then we're going to take all of these knobs off. It has really beautiful handles and knobs on this piece, and we're going to take these all off. These will be cleaned with TSP and a little scrubby brush. Then I'll let them dry really, really well. And then I'm going to spray paint them black, I believe. I'm not sure if I'm going to do them black or gold. We'll see how this other paint color turns out, but I'm thinking I'll be doing black accents on this paint. So let me show you a couple of things that are wrong with this piece. So this is laminate up here. This is all laminate. It's very shiny. There's scratches in it. But what I would do is just sand out any scratches, because you can sand laminate. But in order to paint it, I'm going to sand it to get just scratches out. And then I'm going to use a fusion product called Ultra Grip. And because this is a fairly large surface, I'm going to roll out the Ultra Grip. Just a nice coat, nothing too crazy thick. But this is a bonding agent. So bonding agent just allows you to, it allows the paint to stick to it. So when this dries after 12 hours, the paint will stick to it really, really well. And then we don't have to worry about paint not sticking to laminate. You can take like a 150 grit sandpaper and sand the heck out of this laminate. That will also allow paint to stick to it. So if you want to really go crazy and sand it and get really good tooth, really good scratch in the laminate before you paint it, you can do that. Or you can use the Ultra Grip. And just for time's sake, I'm using the Ultra Grip. So over here, there is, I'm not sure, I can't really see this here too well. I'm trying to take you in pretty close. I'm not sure if you can see that. That is a chunk of wood that's missing. So right there, we've got to fill those ends in, those corners in. The front part of this is actually pretty okay. We've got to clean up this molding and prep it. We've got to take the handles off and prep all these drawers. There's more missing pieces here. And then on the very, very bottom of this piece, there's also some trim that's a bit nicked up. So I'm going to fill these in. I'm going to show you how we do this. You might have to do this in a couple of layers even, but it's not too hard to do. I have these little spatulas. I got these, I think, at Michael's. I'm not really sure. Here's another just ordinary spatula that you can use. And just take your wood filler. So I'm going to take a little blob of this wood filler and just fill in here. And it doesn't matter if you go over the top a little bit. Sometimes, like I think with this one, we're going to have to go over it twice just to get a nice shape back. So I'm going to take off the excess. When I have it all filled in nicely, you can even take your finger and do that. Get it as nice as you can. Put a little bit more back in there. So what I generally do is I overfill it if there's a chunk missing, and I pat it around like that, just with my finger. So what I've done is I've kind of shaped it the way I want this molding to look in the end, because there's actually a chunk missing. So I'm overfilling it, and I'm just going to pat it around. And the reason I'm overfilling it is because I know that I can go back. I can go back once it's dried, and I can shape that exactly however sharp I want the corner to be or whatever. So that's that corner. We're going to be buzzing around a little bit here tonight, so bear with me. And then there's one over here. This isn't, you know, really too bad because it's not huge pieces of stuff. Can you see that there? Huge pieces of stuff missing, but there are pieces like with great big gaps missing. I tend to use my fingers more than anything. So just overfill it again there and get these little cracks here. Just tap it in. It's kind of like silly putty almost in a way. So that's overfilled there again. So tomorrow I can just hone it down with my sandpaper to exactly how I want it. So if you had a bigger chunk of something missing, you can do that as well. It's excellent. This wood filler is excellent for filling in gouges and chunks that are missing out of things. So I want to show you. I'm going to be buzzing around all kinds of different ways here tonight. So how do you clean these pieces? Okay, so these pieces, they need to be clean, but you're never going to get in there with a cloth to clean them. That's just going to be impossible. So what I do is I take my TSP and I will spray it. And I'll just let the stuff soak in there for a minute. When you use a TSP, you're going to get your wood wet. But that's okay because you don't really want to be painting on this tonight anyway. This is the prep night. So then I take a chip brush, and a chip brush is just a coarse hair brush, and I just go in all the little grooves. So you can do this with soapy water if you have like Dawn dish soap or laundry soap or some kind of cleaner. But to get into all these little grooves here so that it's nice and clean and all the dust is out, I just do that all the way down. And I just do that to the molding parts because they're really hard to get into with a cloth. I've tried it before and it doesn't work too well. So this just gets the really bad grunge out of these bits here. It only takes a minute. Might as well do the door front too. And then you take your cloth and you wipe it all down as much as you can. You're not going to get everything off from deep inside here, but just try to get it as much as you can. With the Fusion TSP, also, you don't have to wipe off the residue after. With other TSPs, if you got it from Home Depot or one of the other places, you actually have to wipe off all of the. You actually can use the TSP, then you have to take plain water and wash it again to get the residue off. But with Fusion Mineral Paints TSP, you don't have to do that. You can just put it on, wash your doors or your drawers with it, and then take it right off. Okay, so that's just the cleaning of that part. I'm going to do over here a little bit and show you. It's the same thing here. You can go right over top of these handles even, although I'm going to clean these handles separately. But just because there's so many grooves in here, right into the corners, the whole piece does need to be cleaned with TSP and a rag, but this particular part can be cleaned with the brush because it's got all these little grooves. And when I take these handles off, I will soak them in something as well. So, and then what I would do is, the top is really grungy. If you look at the top, there's a lot of paint, there's dirt, dust, paint splatters on it just because I've been working in the shop here and it's getting really messy. So what I'm going to do is just take my sandpaper to these paint bits, try to hone those down, see if I can get rid of any weird deeper scratches. I don't have to get this paint right off. I just have to get it to a point where it's kind of clean, and the rest will come off with a TSP. So clean that up all the way to the edge. This has a scratch in it, but it's not for deep. It won't get filled in. So this is laminate, and you can scratch it up like this really well and then paint over it, but I would suggest putting a bonding agent on it like the Fusion Ultra Grip. So now that I've done that, I've just gotten out any little ridges of scratches. Because if you leave scratches in your piece, as soon as you paint it, it's going to show up everything. So this has a little paint nub there. And there's a couple of little spots here that I'm going to get off with a scraper. So the goal of it right now is just to get your piece as clean and as scratch-free, dent-free, nick-free as you can possibly get it. This is, I don't know what this is. It might be stain or something, but it's coming off with my scraper. And I don't mind if I scrape it like this, so I'm pretty harsh with it right now, because I'm going to be painting this top black. You can't stain laminate, so there's no point trying to prep it for stain, but you can paint over it really easily. Okay, I'm going to just wash this front here and this side. Now, I will clean the rest of this tonight, and then tomorrow I'll come back and I'll take this dried wood fill and I will shape it so that it's perfect. Then I'm going to use Ultra Grip on this surface, and I'll show you how I'm going to do that. It's pretty fast. You can brush it on, but it does leave brush marks. Oh, this is a new bottle. I did not realize I had a new bottle. So it's really easy to prep these, and just to even fix the dings and nicks. It doesn't take too long. But if you don't fix them and you go ahead and just paint over top of a bunch of scratches and gouges, it's not going to look very nice. So I'm just going to pour this on just a little bit. You don't want this on super thick, but you want it on thicker than that. Usually I use a roller tray too, and this roller is going to be dry right now, so let's get it going here. So this is the bonding agent, and all I'm aiming for is to have it very much a smooth, even coat of this bonding agent called Ultra Grip. There are, if you use Dixie Belle paint, there's some Dixie Belle Boss, I believe it is. There's other bonding agents, and like I said, if you wanted to prime it white and skip this part and use the primer, which would also bond to it, you could use the Bin 123 is the one to get. It's an awesome primer. I love that stuff. So I'm just putting an even coat. I'm going to even this out here now. I want to make sure I got it right to the edge. And even it out. Make sure there's no roller marks. This will level out so you don't have to worry about the foam brush leaving a mark on it. You just want to get any ridges out. And tomorrow I can go across the whole front and do that as well. Once I get all that done, I can clean up the whole front. So it's not a bad piece to prep. This part is ready. This part is not. You can see just how messy this part is. It's got a lot of cleaning that needs to be done. And it doesn't look quite as nice. But other than just going along and prepping the drawers here. So with the drawer prep, drawers, this is a piece of 150 sandpaper. And I tend to use 150 sandpaper. I used to use 220 because everybody used to say to use 220, but I found that 220 is just not enough of a, it doesn't create enough of a scratch in the surface. So if you're painting, I would suggest just get right in there with a 150 or a 180. Don't use the 220, it's just too fine. So even here, you can scratch this up, or you can just go along tomorrow after you've cleaned it and use the Ultra Grip on there. You can see the Ultra Grip from here has kind of a blue hue to it on there. So that's how I know where I've spread it as well. With these drawers, they're pretty simple. It's just a matter of taking all this hardware off. I don't know if I've got the right screwdriver. I'm going to use this one. I'm taking the drawers off and then sanding around the edges and then just sanding down the flat. These are kind of neat handles, really. I like them. These handles, by the way, don't disregard these old handles because a lot of new pieces are being sold with them. So they're still in fashion, and these handles would cost you about $25, $30 a piece if you went to Lee Valley or one of the big stores. These are huge. These are about 6.5 inches long. They're solid metal, and these will look beautiful once they're sprayed up. So we're going to keep those handles and we're not going to replace them. But all you do for the prep on these, it's pretty simple. It's just, I've started to do this one a little bit. You just need to take it down to where it's not shiny like this. So you can see where I've dulled it up here just by scratching up the surface. So then if I was staining this, I would want to sand in the direction of the grain, but I'm not staining it. I'm just going to be painting it. So I can go any which way to sand it, but it's still just as easy to go back and forth. The only thing with drawers like this is make absolutely sure that you get right into these corners, because if you don't, your paint won't stick. So what I do, just as double insurance, is I will scuff sand these with the 150, and then I'll take my Ultra Grip and a little brush and I go right along here. And then that just confirms and makes me sure that when my paint goes on, it's going to really stick, because these little corners can be tricky to get stuffed up otherwise. So that is one drawer prepped. And it's just a matter of, I've already pre-done this one. You can see the difference between this and this. So this one hasn't been done, this one has been done. So once you have sanded, do not put any water back on it. You don't want any water back on it. You just want to take a cloth. And in this case, because there's ridges, I've got a big fluffy 5-inch brush that I use, or 4-inch. And I just brush the grooves out. Don't wet it again, because if you wet it again after sanding, scuff sanding, you will push the tooth that you've just raised by scraping it up. You will push it right back into the wood, and then you don't have a toothy surface for your paint to stick to. I'm just gonna see what this is before I let you guys go. I'm just gonna see if I can get my paint jar open. Slam it on the floor. Maybe not. I was going to try this. No, I can't get it open, but tomorrow I'll come out. I'll finish prepping this piece exactly like I've just shown you. There's nothing else I have to do to it. Inside is clean. The drawers are super clean, so I just have to vacuum them out. And then tomorrow night I will come on and we'll start painting. We'll just do one big paint evening, and we'll get a first coat on this whole thing tomorrow night. So if you want to hang out tomorrow night, we can paint and gab, and I hope that helped you with prepping your piece. See you later, guys.